Good evening, everyone, and welcome into the Plug Talk Sports live show 199. Before we start into our order of business, there's something that I wrote that I would like to share with everybody and with our viewers before we head into everything. But anyways, it's been a heavy week, a way of settling in like a weight we never asked to carry, and many people are carrying it right now. Loss, tragedy, uncertainty. It touches us all differently, but it always leaves a mark. In moments like these, I think about the role sports plays in our lives. On the surface, it's just a game, teams, scores, highlights, but for so many, it's also a lifeline. Sports brings us together when the world feels fractured. They give us moments of joy, unity, and hope, whether it's cheering in the stadium, gathering with friends, or even just catching a highlight reel. Sports reminds us that we're part of something bigger, something shared. Uh, but even beyond that, there's a deeper anchor, our faith. Because while sports can lift us for a night, faith is what sustains us for a lifetime. Faith in God gives us the courage to walk through grief. It reminds us that while pain is real, so is His promise that He will never leave us nor forsake us, even in the darkest valleys. The impact sports can have on those who are grieving, how community and shared experiences can be healing, and most importantly, how we can hold on to faith when the world feels heavy. Because even in the hardest weeks, we can still find light, hope, and purpose, and that's what we're going to lean into together. So with that, if you guys have anything to add on that, feel free. Uh, if not,
Yeah,
we'll
I
uh,
can say something about it.
we'll go right into the show. If you guys don't have anything,
I'll say one quick thing about it. Uh, when I went on Twitter after what uh, what happened, and I'm assuming it's bots because I really don't like to think people would actually act like that. I saw a comment of someone cheering that it happened in front of his wife, the assassination that happened recently, and that really I couldn't believe it. Like that's awful. Happy that it happened in front of, you know, a person's wife and kids is terrible, but I feel. But
all right. If you guys don't have anything, we're gonna get into our first subject of the evening. With that, we're gonna do what we do best, and hopefully, this hour is a good time for everybody just to disconnect from the world and enjoy sports. So we are going to get into honestly, it's bad, man. It is so bad. We're going to talk about the Miami Dolphins and Jonka's New England Patriots. So Blake and Brandon faced off against Jonka this week, who's showing off his Super Bowl hat for the New England Patriots. Guys,
Repping, baby.
this was not good. Uh, I've never seen Mike McDaniel looked so lost in the press conference after a game of not really knowing what else or what can he say that's going to make this situation better. For Tua Tagovailoa, him as well, kind of saying things that, it kind of leave you scratching your head and not trying to really figure out the situation here. The Patriots went on and defeated the Dolphins 33-27. The Dolphins start out the year 0-2, and if this team is struggling against New England Patriots, boy, do I imagine what will happen on Thursday night against the Buffalo Bills or any team that is a strong and good team. It is going to be very scary. Tyreek Hill looked like he's ready to get out of there. Uh, we saw him during the week laughing when they asked him about Tua if he can reach Tyreek on these routes, and he had no comment, but he just laughed. And there's no way, guys, for Blake and Brandon, there is no way that you guys I mean, it's only 2 games, but it's very bad. It's a bad situation. There's no way if this continues this way that Mike McDaniel stays in his job.
Well, I wouldn't argue that, but definitely I would say definitely more towards Greer because there's a lot of theories going on right now. I think the biggest thing is that Stephen Ross only cares about money at this point. He brought in the Miami Open. He brought in F1 for some reason at Miami Gardens. So he also has Mike McDaniels on a huge contract extension not too long ago with Tua Tagovailoa. So those two are always going to be connected no matter what happens. And on the honest part as well, though, specifically talking about this Patriots game, this game at least told me that week 1 was a fluke. The Colts are a real team. They beat out the Broncos in a very, very insane fashion, I would say. But Danny Dimes, in other words, Indiana Jones at this point, he's real. The Colts are real. So I have no issue now with that week 1 game because they showed real fight in this week 2 game. I mean, the Dolphins in the past were going back and forth. The only team that really didn't show up, though, was Miami's defense. Out of 15 series defensively for this team, 13 times has an opposing team scored 13 out of 15 times. The defense has not shown up at all. I know that we got some sacks from Trop Robinson and Bradley Chubb throughout the last 2 weeks. But besides that, the secondary. And also, let's talk about a little bit because of Gray, the linebacker. He's only showed up for 2 snaps throughout this entire season. Both of them were in this game. One of them was a tackle for loss. They're not putting the right guys out there. I don't know if it's Anthony Weaver and his personnel. But this was just probably one of the most wildest games I've seen early on this season. We're talking about back and forth affair. Punt return touchdown for the Dolphins for 70-some yards, followed by a 90-plus kickoff return by the Patriots. Had Vrabel running side by side with Gibson going down the sideline. It was the most insane game to watch. And I know we're going to probably deep dive more into this, and probably Blake will have his own take. My biggest issue about this game, because I liked how Tua looked. We're talking about over 300 passing yards, 2 tutties early on midway of this game. We actually had a really good possession back and forth. And Tyreek Hill, for the first time since week 1 of last year, has a catch of over 30 yards, over 109 receiving yards. That on that right next to Devon Achane with 92, probably the best fantasy football player right now available, Devon Achane. But my biggest issue was the last offensive series in this one. I was at the game, unfortunately. And I'm looking at that final drive on that side of the field. You talk about Devon Achane. It looks like he gets the game-winning score. He has a 1-foot step out of bounds, and every single person on that sideline looked in shock, like they had no idea what just happened. You have 1 timeout left. You don't have a play call going. The clock goes to 0, 5 yards. Still, nothing for the play. It's like they're still on the same. Did Devon really step out? Are we really about to lose this game? Another penalty because they can't get to the line in time. And McDaniel doesn't want to use the only timeout he has, which that 1 timeout could have saved 10 yards, and he didn't use it. That later on turns into them being unsuccessful on a 4th and 12, where you had, a tight end open. Mind you, not even I'm not even a tight end for the Dolphins, even got a reception in this game. But this was a game that Miami should have won. They look so much better. They look like the team that we expected them to be, besides the defense, though. If Drake May's running around, that's a problem because Drake May's not all that, unfortunately. So that was the one big concern I have from the defense itself. But the special teams is just insane, though. I mean, how many times can you say a punt return for a touchdown is followed by a kick return for a touchdown? So for the Dolphins themselves, the offense looks like it's back on track. The defense, Anthony Weaver might lose his job before anybody else. But this was definitely a bad coaching display, especially in crunch time down the stretch.
Blake, before you go, I'm just going to read you a direct quote. When I said that Mike McDaniel didn't know what to say, this is a direct quote from his press conference. To win games, you have to win the game, not lose the game. I just will leave that there, and you guys make with that what you will.
I think it was genuinely a man in shock at what happened, but I don't think it's shocking. The second article I wrote for you guys was I went to a training camp, and I wrote what I saw at the training camp. In that training camp, I said the best defensive player on our team outside of Minka Fitzpatrick was Willie Gay, and the 2 plays he was out there, he made 2 plays both times. Him and Jordan Brooks need to be the starting linebackers. Terrell Dodson, I don't want out there. He had, what was it, like 14 tackles in week one? Tackles don't mean you're a good player. We can know that because of Kiko Alonso a few years ago. He led the NFL in tackles. He was one of the worst linebackers in football. So that's something. But I'm gonna be honest, nothing has changed for me from last week to this week. The defense is exactly what we thought it was. The offense, we knew the offense was gonna pick up eventually. If the O-line just played decent for a couple snaps, they'll be fine. The Patriots couldn't get there with 4 guys, so he had time to throw consistently, and you saw it. He looked good when there was only 4 guys rushing the passer. The run game, still not good. Devon Achane, I think, finished with 3.8 yards a carry, and that's only because he had 11 carries. Because we didn't get the ball the whole game because the defense was giving up 14-play drives for the Patriots to just walk downfield, march downfield. I have it in my notes. Jonka, before I just gave him like a quick scroll in my notes, and I did like 8 finger swipes of it to get through all my notes. 21 total penalties in this game, 11 on the Patriots, 10 on the Dolphins. The Dolphins had 7 offensive line penalties. 3 in the fourth quarter. So that means in the most meaningful time of the game, your offensive line panics. And what I saw watching on TV on that final drive, like Brandon, you brought up, was when we didn't get that play call off and we had the delay of game, we had to take that time out. Tua was doing this, looking at the sideline, trying to walk closer. I think he lost connection in his earpiece. Because I think he was saying he can't hear. He couldn't hear a play call. But then it turned out there was an injury timeout. It didn't matter anyways for the Pats. The offense is exactly what we thought it was. It was going to be, hey, guess what? On a 4-man rush, if we can block them, we look really good. It's hard to stop us when there's a 4-man rush against the quarterback. Defensively, your secondary is awful. What scared me was, once again, your new toy, Zach Sealer, that you just paid, felt obsolete to me the entire game. He was not there in the run. He had 1 pass rush attempt that he couldn't catch Drake May. Drake May was able to just go around him and get a first down. Bradley Chubb I actually thought played good. I'm a Bradley Chubb hater. I actually thought he played a decent game. Maybe a bit better than decent, but really he's the only one I could say something good about outside of Willie Gay. Because the issue on this team is more than coaching. It's a bad team. It's not a good team. We just finished watching this Texans game, and I'm watching the Texans play, and I'm watching the Buccaneers play, and I'm like, there's good coaching here, yeah, but you can just see in the players. These are good players. Like these are guys that know what to do and know how to play football. And my main question is, I look at Chris Greer and I go, you have known what trajectory this team was going on since you got Tyreek, or even when you were about to make the Tyreek trade, you knew what you were gonna have to do from there, and you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. And to me personally, that's someone, and I don't like calling for people's jobs. It's, that's their livelihood, but he's made enough money. That man needs to lose his job because he's been pathetic. It has been awful. Now, I personally don't think he's going to get fired because I don't think Stephen Ross wants to deal with more backlash by having a high up in his organization as a strong black figure. That's just me personally. I don't think he wants to deal with more backlash like he got from the Brian Flores situation. But it's not a good team. It's a poorly built team, and I don't really know where you go from there. Now, look, we can go 7-1 our next 8 games, and I could look like a total dumbass. But that's just how I feel. That honestly, I don't see anything good on this team.
Jacob?
Damn, bro. Listen, I despite me and my team winning that game,
no, hype yourself up, dude.
I also had some moments where I lost my temper because of my offense. Like I was just screaming, like, because the one thing with Josh McDaniels and this damn Tom Brady offense that he likes to run, that he's the one that created it, is that there's hardly any deep shots down the field unless necessary. And yes, that's good for Tom Brady since he doesn't have that big of an arm, but you got Drake May that can run it and has a cannon, but he doesn't utilize them enough. And you saw the Dolphins, take control of that game. They had the momentum. And then I was just losing my patience. I'm like, bro, just take a shot down the damn field. Like, this offense is, like, not getting it done right now. The Dolphins made adjustments that game, and you could see it. And then there you go. I think it was a 55-yard pass to Ramondre Stevenson on the right side, and that opened up the entire game. Boom, go down the field, touchdown. I loved it. Now, I want to give credit to Will Campbell and Jared Wilson, the two new offensive linemen. They did great today, great yesterday. And then they got to fix obviously some things that they're rookies, so they're gonna fix it. But what I'm disappointed is Morgan Moses, the right tackle. You're a veteran. You should not be having 3 false start penalties in any game at all. Maybe one by fluke, but that is unexcusable. Ramondre Stevenson, great game. Travion Henderson, great game. Stephon Diggs, Keyshawn Booty, shout out to all of them. They had a hell of a game. Now this is my problem where I'm having with the Dolphins now. We couldn't get any pass rush because our top pass rusher, Keon White, did not play. Our number 1 Pro Bowl cornerback, Christian Gonzalez, did not play. He's been out. He might not even play this week. Why weren't the Dolphins targeting the guy that Carlton Davis wasn't on? He's our second best back. Why aren't you not targeting the opposite side? I'm not understanding. Alex Austin is okay, but he's not next gen. Like, what are these matchups? You just put Tyreek or Waddle on either side, and you pick which one you want. That one that's open. That game could have been an easy ass massacre, bro. Easy ass massacre. We suck.
Patriots didn't even have their defensive coordinator.
Bro, exactly. So I don't know what the excuses with these damn Dolphins. I don't want to hear anything about.
Well, they never played man. They never played man throughout that entire game.
It was Tampa 2 the whole game. It was show coverage.
The whole game. You know, I mean, even the impressive stuff. I remember, like, what was it? Tyreek's pass that was underthrown for 50-some yards. 2 guys were running down the field with him. The only way he would caught it, he stopped while the other ran.
That's how bad we were. He actually caught it, bro. They were just staring at it like this.
Yeah. So, and also speaking of which, though, because when you also talk about the passing game, I think for both of these sides, the running game was not there for both of these sides. I mean, don't get me wrong, though. Stevenson, 54 yards. He was doing some good with his carries. But the Dolphin side, this is the thing that always pisses me off, though, about this Dolphin team, where Devon Achane ain't a power back. You got rid of Mostert, who obviously had a 1,000-yard season, followed that with kind of a poor judgment season. They let him go. 30 yards from our lead back, Devon Achane, rushing-wise. I understand that 90-some yards passing. I understand bubble screens, tight stuff. If you want to include some mesh, whatever, wheel routes. This is ridiculous, though. And Ollie Gordon, we talked about having only 1 carry in week 1. He only had 1 carry in week 2. 1 carry for 8 yards. 8 yards, and never saw him again.
I'm disappointed in that also, bro. Like, I think he should be our running back 1. That's just my crazy opinion. But I think he should be the starting running back. He's a bulldozer. He can make defenses legit tired and possibly injure one of them, which would be in your benefit. Yeah. And I don't see why they're not using him more. 1 carry, bro? 1 carry?
Yeah. What I would argue, though, I mean, and in a really, really, really weird way of saying it, he's not the most highest paid player in the team. He's barely even a Pro Bowler. But Devon Achane is probably the best player in the Dolphins as of right now.
Performance-wise,
obviously, yeah. And again, this was, no shame. I mean, this was a good Hill and Tua game. If you told me that we were going to put up over 300 passing yards and Tyreek was going to have more than 100 yards receiving on the Patriots at home, yeah, I would have said we probably win by a touchdown or 2. But this game, this is more of a defensive struggle. 33 points against the Colts given up, 33 against New England. I don't know what's going to happen on a short week, but according to NFL logic, the Dolphins might have their better chance playing at Buffalo than they did Sunday, according to NFL stupid logic. But I'm telling you, though, if the storyline fits, maybe that turns out to be. But in this case, Dolphins 0-2. And the last 9 teams from last year that went 0-2, only 3 of them made the playoffs. 11% historically for the NFL in 106 years. I'm not saying that they're out of the water. They're not dead in the water, though.
That's not true. They're dead.
I will say.
They're dead. Go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think they're pretty dead. No, I think they're pretty dead. I will say that, do I think Drake May is amazing? No, I don't. I will agree with the statement. But when you are allowing Drake May to complete 19 of 23 passes and a rushing touchdown, That's not just Danny Dimes. That is a problem. Is what that is. A problem.
I couldn't believe
Thank you,
it.
Daniel. Put some respect on my boy's name, bro.
No, I couldn't believe it.
He just
I watched-
disrespected him. He just called him worse than Daniel Jones. Like,
Hey,
Hey, Daniel Jones
Daniel Jones is on some streak right now.
he's on a tear. He's on a tear, man. They haven't punted all year yet. So
He's got something to prove, man. He's got a chip on his shoulder. All right, New York didn't think I'm good enough. I'm gonna go out and prove it.
yeah. Also,
He's making New York look like suckers right now, bro.
yeah, they get rid of Saquon, it turns to bite them. Get rid of Danny, turns to bite them. I'm gonna put out there early off. I guarantee the Colts win that division right now. Guarantee the Colts win that division. The way that they're playing right now, if they keep it up, I think Jones and them will be able to be fine. But on top of that, though, because John, I was going to ask because I made the comment earlier about if you're letting Drake May run around like that, that's kind of terrible. I don't know. Do you know what Drake May's 40 is? His 40-yard dash?
tell me 4.83.
Let me see. Drake is...
It's worse than that, or is it better than that?
It looked like
Drake May runs a 4.58.
A 4.58 at quarterback. It looked like he ran a 6 running across the edge right there as Bradley Chubb went and tried to get him for a trip on the sack on that touchdown play.
Hey, Bradley Chubb must be like a 9 then.
Yeah. There's no way.
His legs are gone.
His legs are gone. Obviously, injury has taken up this team, especially in the pass rush. And I mean, again, as you said before, but tackles don't really mean a lot on some cases. But for Zach Sealer's case, 2 tackles and the way he's getting paid for the entire game, that's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Phillips and Chop Robinson and Bradley, I know they're right there next to the quarterback, but what is Drake May escaping in the pocket looking like to your team in the AFC East? That's unacceptable. The mobile quarterback issue that the Dolphins have when you pay such high price tags for this pass rush, defensive tackles, and guys at the edge, it's unacceptable. So, as you said, very much of a team thing. I think Greer gets fired for this. I blame Greer for this game more than anyone.
The thing is, like, with Josh McDaniels' offense, it's curated around a really good O-line, and right now it's like
it's awful,
below average right now with 2 rookies, and then Garrett Bradbury, the veteran, and then Moger Moses, and then whoever I forgot who's at right guard. But
well, we have a backup now.
Yep.
Yeah, backup now. James Daniels is out. Him and Austin Jackson both on IR. But I have one last thing to say that I just thought of. Do you know why we have this defensive line? There's a reason why. Do you know?
Tell me.
For Josh Allen. That's the only reason we have this defensive line. Do you remember on draft night, we drafted Jalen Phillips, who, by the way, I was begging for Gregory Rousseau because I thought he was a better defensive lineman out of UM. We drafted him because he'll be able to chase down Josh Allen. You go and get Bradley Chubb because he can chase down Josh Allen. I haven't seen them chase down Josh Allen once. Why? Because Bradley Chubb's played 1 game against him, and we saw he wasn't athletic enough then. I can't imagine now. Jalen Phillips, it's almost like he's too small, it feels like, because Josh Allen's bigger than him. Josh Allen's 6'5", 245, 250. He's the same size. So you used a first-round pick. You traded 1 or 2 first-round picks for Bradley Chubb. The 1 first-round pick I know from the Chiefs trade for Tyreek, or is that the Laramie Tunsil trade? One of the 2. And you get 2 pass rushers who can't do what you brought them for. They're not good enough. And that's on the GM. That's the GM. What has Chris Greer done since we drafted Tua? Let's just go since we drafted Tua. What has he done that you go, wow, that's a great move by a GM to improve this team? The Tyreek Hill one was sitting there. You had 3 first-round picks in 1 year. You could get rid of 2 of them. That was the fact of it. You can get rid of those picks. And then guess what? 2 of those picks you traded to the Chiefs. Oh, one was Trent McDuffie and the other was turned out to be Creed Humphrey. Not Creed Humphrey. But yeah, Creed Humphrey. Yeah. Their center. So that's 2 All-Pros right there that you just traded away for your picks. So I can go off on Chris Greer all day. That's why I'm trying to relax a bit because I hate him. He's awful.
Same. And speaking on that topic, the O-line has probably been the biggest atrocity that Chris Greer has contributed to. And to give you an example, a majority of the penalties coming from Sunday on the offensive line, Aaron Brewer, who was a big-time center with the Tennessee Titans, he fails. Then you have rookies all around that entire O-line, rookies and sophomore guys. Patrick Paul has been a shining light. Keon Smith, I'm still on the fence of that. I don't know where exactly I have with him, but the rookie out of Arizona that no one can really pronounce his name well,
Jonas Savai.
Savai has been a big issue. And I get it. We threw him in the fire in this situation, and it's been unfortunate because we have a bottom 5 offensive line in the NFL early in the season, which is not new for Dolphin fans, for those who have been with this team for multiple decades. It is not new. I missed Dwight Stevenson years. I wasn't born in the right age of Miami Dolphin football. I'm scared for Thursday. I'm sorry. I'm super scared for Thursday because the fact that that's on Prime Video, thank God I don't have enough money for the subscription because I will not be watching that. I just cannot be watching that game.
Stream
Took
East.
down Stream East, man. No, they got it. They got
Yeah, they got him.
They back up. Nice. So I'll say one last thing, and I will not say another thing on this topic. Is where's our first round defensive lineman pick?
Yeah.
Kenneth Grant?
I'm looking out there. I'm seeing Jordan Phillips getting reps. Kenneth Grant's nowhere. I saw him 3 times. Now he's out there more than that, of course, but like I'm seeing him on TV 3 times. How is that possible?
Mind you, a draft that went out of the way to get Maryland Terrapins to put on this roster.
Oh,
Listen, any first
I
or
got 3
second
things
round
I
pick
want to ask.
cannot be traded unless it's for a higher draft pick in the draft. That's it. You cannot trade it for anything else unless you're getting a higher pick, period.
I have 3 things I want to ask. Number 1, and these are all directed at Blake and Brandon. I would like for them to answer these 3 questions, and we'll go one by one. The first question is, do you guys regret giving Tua money?
Well, I'll go first on this one because this happened after he led the NFL in passing yards. This was back-to-back playoff appearances for Mike McDaniel, okay? The idea of regretting Tua getting an extension, I understand it. I mean, the best quarterback the Dolphins have had in the past few years has been like Fitzpatrick and Jay Cutler. You know what I mean? So I understand keeping a guy consistent with Tua Tagovailoa. But the money he got paid, 5 times more than the overall earnings of a career like Dan Marino, insane. I didn't agree with the amount. Tua didn't want to go any lower in that. And obviously, for those who have been with the channel long enough, I was always a Justin Herbert guy way before Tua because I knew issues like this was going to happen. We're going to have issues where injuries are going to be top up, and plus how powerful. I mean, because best case scenario, Tua is basically Steve Young. That's how he used to play like. He's not used to, what he's dealing with right now with the bombardment of pass rushers, the NFL speed. Even in year 6, it looks like he's still struggling and passing the ball out and finding reads in his last looks. I don't regret it, though. I really don't regret it, though, because understanding the situation, I mean, the guy was on fire. I don't regret it. It's like saying, do you regret giving Dak Prescott an extension? Who cares what he does? You just know that he's one of the most consistent guys on the team, at least. So at that point, and I unfortunately use those words, yes, consistent, but yes, so I don't really regret them paying. And honestly, there's not going to be another quarterback in this draft class that I would even think of replacing Tua with right now, unless you
you're not on the Arch Manning hype. What?
John Mateer?
John, you heard that?
Sellers?
No.
John
Mateer. Who said Oklahoma Sooner quarterback?
John Mateer.
This man knows ball now.
He did it last week.
I know I know ball, but when he was at Washington State, that guy was a baller. I was telling you guys for a year.
He is a baller. I do like some John Mateer hype. But still, I wouldn't put him to start at the moment. If today's NFL team, I don't know how many teams he would start on immediately. But right now, they're saying that Nussmeier might be the top quarterback coming up in the draft, which is like, you know what I mean? Yeah, especially after Saturday. We'll get into that. But I just don't like
Brandon,
the draft class.
You wouldn't want to draft DJ Lagway?
Too young. And it showed on Saturday. We're gonna talk about that, I'm pretty sure. But either way.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it.
Either way,
Blake, do you regret Tua?
If you looking back now, you have to say yes, but at the time you're signing a guy who showed you gave him a league average O-line for 1 year, and he was on pace for 4,600 and 42 touchdowns. Like, that's what happened. And then you just didn't give him even if you gave him a league average O-line for the rest of his career, Tua was going to look like a good quarterback. He was going to have me and my friends came up with this. Every fourth game, you have to think of it like this. Every fourth game, Tua's going to have a bad one. That's just who he is now. You can admit that. That's fine. You can live with a quarterback having one bad one every fourth game, right? Because you can still win some of those sometimes. But you were like, but those 3 games, he's going to look real good in those 3 games. But then, you pay him. And by the way, I think he's like the 7th or 8th highest paid quarterback now. So his contract at the end of the day, it's not even the worst thing in the world. Because he's the 8th highest paid quarterback in the league now. That's how I look at QB contracts is like, is he getting a fair market value? He's not that far up ahead of where he probably should be in the market. So I'm not too mad about it. Like I can see Tua being the 12th best quarterback in football. So him being at 8 to 12, I'm okay with. But I think if you're Chris Greer, you regret it because you paying him thinking I can still build this O-line around you, and he didn't do it. So now he looks like a moron paying Tua. So I would go with I regret it now. At the time, I definitely wouldn't have regretted it.
We're going to stay with you before we balance back to Brandon for my question number 2. And my question number 2 is, do you think, with a lot of these rumors going around, do you think at some point in this season, Tyreek Hill is going to be traded?
If you were putting me like a gun to my head, I have to answer right now. I'd say no. But if you gave me after Thursday night, like if we did a late night Thursday show after that game, and we lose 40-27, then yeah, I think he gets traded.
Foreshadowing?
Hopefully, because if we lose 40-27, they're all gone. So I'm hopeful. I'm praying for it. Because if we go into Buffalo and beat the Bills, they're gonna be like, wait, we got something. So, but I think I'd give it as of right now like a 25% chance he gets traded. But if you lose bad to the Bills, I think it goes to like 60% he gets traded.
Brandon?
I would link in the other side of things where, like, it's not the Dolphins' decision. It's more like the NFL's entire decision. This is a guy that's actively in a domestic violence issue right now. You know what I mean? I mean, the only team that would probably overlook that is probably the Cleveland Browns, But I don't know how good Tyreek's going to be. Like, oh, well, yeah, let's just move on to Cleveland. By that point, you might as well retire. I feel like, honestly, in a weird way, he might retire before even getting traded. And for the Dolphins side of things, this is a franchise that has made it very clear to a lot of people. They're not trying to look for suitors for Tyreek. They're trying to win. It's only week 2. That's what they've been telling everyone. Only week 2. We can still be a team. He's still one of the better players on a team that's trying to win. So I don't really believe that Tyreek gets shipped out just because of those reasons.
So my third and final question to the both of you, we'll start with Brandon. What was the point of signing Darren Waller?
No point. There was no point. Oh my gosh. They just don't like giving the ball to the tight end. Jonnu Smith had a hell of a year, and they said, that doesn't look like Tyreek on that route. Ship him out. That's all that happened. That's all that happened with that. Darren Waller can play on Thursday, and honestly, he won't even get a catch. Okay? The whole situation at tight end, and I can do a whole hour spill about this, speaking of which we will have an NFL podcast probably later on down the line this week before Thursday's game, where I will have an whole hour to talk about this. But very much, they just didn't like the play calls of the tight end, so they decided to get rid of Jonnu Smith and pick up Darren Waller, where they knew no one would bother them about it because he wouldn't play a single game this year. I mean, talk to Julian Hill, talk to Connor, talk to all those guys. They got open looks. A 4th and 12, the last play of the game for the Dolphins offense, tight end wide open for a potential first down, and they didn't even look his way. So Darren Waller does not matter because tight ends don't matter in this offense.
So it's actually funny. I view it differently because this is the Shanahan system. Like that's what this is. This is the Kyle Shanahan getting it from his father, and he expands it, West Coast system. The tight end matters in this system. Why is George Kittle perfect for the 49ers? Because he's good at blocking. That's why he's perfect. He's good at blocking. He is one of the best blocking tight ends in football, and he's a talented receiver. Like, they got very lucky they have him. What I didn't get was, I think Jonnu Smith's just a league average tight end. So if you can just throw him in and you get Micah Fitzpatrick, that's fine. But then go in the draft. I happen to have he goes to the same church as me, and I've met him twice now. Super nice kid, Mason Taylor, Jason Taylor's son.
Oh, the Jets.
He went to St. Thomas, played against him, went to the Jets. You're telling, why not just trade back a little bit in the second round, get like a 5th round pick, and draft your tight end? There he is. Mason Taylor's as big as I am. And you guys can't see it. I'm 6'4". I'm 3 bills right now. He's like 6'4", 6'5", 250. He's a big guy. Like, even if he's not the best blocker, he's a body at least. You're putting in Julian Hill, and the moment they see Julian Hill in the game, we don't need to worry. It's fine. He can't catch the football. Mason can't catch the football. But, like, that's what I'm saying. That's why everything we're saying right now comes back to Chris Grier. Everything we say right now is coming back to you made the wrong decision again and again. Like, let's be honest. If you were going to draft Jordan Phillips late in the draft anyway, and you're going to play and you're swapping him and Kenneth Grant, they're doing like 60-40 snaps right now, them two. Then why even draft Kenneth Grant in the first round?
Yeah.
Or why draft Jordan Phillips? Go get a tight end. And instead now you're going, hey, Tanner Connor, you aren't really that good of a tight end. You're an okay athlete, but like tight end's just not natural. He's more of a linebacker when I see him move. And I'm like, hey, we need you to go catch passes now. Oh, and by the way, you're not going to get any of the targets. We're just putting a body out there that runs faster than Julian Hill. It's Chris Grier again and again. You look at this system, and you have to remember, we're not in these meetings. We don't get to watch the film they get to watch. This is just what we're seeing and then breaking down what we have. And I can tell you that if you put an average tight end in this system, he's going to be good. He's going to look like Jonnu Smith. And Chris Grier still can't figure that out. And so then you sign Darren Waller, who, guess what he's not good at? He can't block. He was a wide receiver. He's Shannon Sharp. He was Shannon Sharp. He was too big to play receiver, so they put him to tight end. What was Shannon Sharp bad at? He was a bad blocker. And now you paid him, how much did we put him against the cap? Like $5.6 million or something like that. And so now that's $5.6 million that you could have signed another. Guess what? That's an O-lineman right there. You're telling me there wasn't a free agent guard that would have taken $5.6 million to go play in Miami? Come on, what are we doing? It's awful. I'm sorry, I'm going off on Chris.
No, you're good.
He might be a nice guy, but I don't care. The dude's a moron.
It's true though. Plus, on top of that, if you knew you were going to get rid of Jonnu Smith, Tyler Warren was right there. He torched us when we played week one, and he's over 150 receiving yards off 11 receptions.
That's ridiculous as a tight end.
Yeah, as a tight end. Honestly, very much of a dark horse, I would have to say, for offensive rookie of the year. But, yeah, that tells you enough. It is it.
I would put him in the limelight for it. That might be because we played him and I saw it. But Tyler Warren's there. Tell me Tyler Warren doesn't fit a Shanahan system perfect.
He's really good.
Perfect.
That's a Kittle right there, man.
He did good for me in fantasy this week. Not gonna lie.
Daniel, if you ask me another Dolphins question, I'm leaving.
John, were you going to say something?
It's something. It's like heading into our next topic. So if the Dolphins were to have the number one overall pick, excluding trades, who would you pick? What position would you pick in the first as your first overall pick? What position?
Unfortunately, O-line. Unfortunately,
you go O-line or D-line. Because the only way you can build a good team in the long run is you draft the front 7 and the front 5 first.
So is it going to be Francis Mauigoa from Miami?
No, I draft Ruben. If I'm doing Ruben Bain or Mauigoa, I take Ruben Bain first. But that's just me. I love Ruben Bain. But you have to understand, if I was a GM, I'm getting rid of Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb. I'll take 4th round picks for him at this point.
Okay, I'll take that.
Jalen Phillips might actually go for a 4th round pick. That's how injury prone he is in the situation we're in.
All right, we're going to move to college football, and we're going to start with LSU defeating Florida. 10. Brandon, talk to us. You're the UF grad here. Talk to us of what happened.
Yeah. So for that one, I did watch chunks of that game because I was at a tailgate Saturday though. I was feeling pretty sick, but I was able to manage through because why not watch if the South Florida team is real? We'll probably talk about that later. But in the sense of the Florida LSU game, everyone knew coming into the season, and honestly, what I was felt like for the entire Billy Napier era for the last few years, this has been the most hardest schedule in the country for the most youngest, inexperienced team in college football. You're trying to tell me sophomore Billy Napier, my apologies, sophomore DJ Lagway is going to go into a Death Valley where his backup, mind you, his backup is a true freshman quarterback as well. He gets 5 interceptions. LSU defense looked like the best of the entire SEC when, yes, they do have some NFL guys in there, but it's obviously not all that. I mean, LSU still being ranked number 3 in the nation is kind of ridiculous in my opinion. I know we're probably going to talk about the AP vote and all that, but this was a very, very winnable game for the Florida Gators. A defense, mind you, this is, in my opinion, the best, one of the top 10 defenses in college football. I've only allowed 2 touchdowns against 3 opponents, and 2 of them were ranked opponents. All right. So this has been a really frustrating time for any Gator fan, probably because the offense penalized on every single opportunity they have to score. I remember there was like a pass in the first quarter. Gators are up 3-0 in Death Valley, and DJ Lagway rolls out and able to find a wide open guy down the field. Easy touchdown against LSU. Could have changed and pushed the Gators to a blowout victory over there, and it gets called back for a holding call. That should have never even happened in the first place. Those type of missed issues where the Gators have multiple touchdowns. 3 touchdowns were called back against South Florida for Florida. And in this game against LSU, we had multiple times where we could have pushed down the field, and DJ gets the ball intercepted in LSU territory. Nussmeier looked horrible. All right, there was one play where it was a free play for LSU, and he throws an interception. The dumbest pass and the dumbest throw for a guy that's a 5th-year senior. He looked terrible. The offense looked horrible. This would have been a 13-10 ball game at the end of the contest if it wasn't for that pick 6 that DJ threw. Not understanding that there's other guys hiding in coverage on his own like that, especially when it's 3 under. For me to put it perfectly still for this Florida team and its expectations, especially after the LSU game, this is a team that can compete with anyone, but the offense is so young and not even close to being disciplined, where we have guys spitting in other people's faces and throwing picks in 4 3-yard type of things where, like, you're forcing the ball downfield. There's no discipline on this team. They can literally go throughout every single team in the SEC and beat every single team in the SEC, but they unfortunately don't have the absolute balls to stick to the damn ship's route. They don't have it in them. And that's what this LSU game showcased, whether that's because of coaching discipline with Billy Napier or whatever with the guys, or that's because how young this roster is, where DJ Lagway's forcing himself. What we saw in last year's Tennessee game on the road with DJ Lagway had to come in for Graham Mertz. You throw to try not to get a first down, but try to throw to win the game, you're going to get picked off. And especially against guys that should be playing on Sunday in the SEC. So that's what I think about the Gators. But again, the defense is so good. I don't even think that this upcoming Saturday I'm too worried about. But the offense, I'm praying. I'm praying for them.
Talking about this upcoming Saturday, your Gators will be playing against Jonka's Hurricanes, who he wrote an article that's up on our website. The Hurricanes were, I don't want to say they were being bombarded, but there was a lot of talk that, look at USF, South Florida beat the Gators. They're going to come in and do the same thing to Miami. There was a lot of talk of that, but then Miami just blows them out of the water. 49-12 wasn't really a game. Jonka, talk to us a little bit about, just the Hurricanes victory now moving up to number 4 in the poll.
Yeah, bro. I was excited for the game. It was supposed to start at 6. No, my bad, 4:30. Then it got rain delayed after the first quarter ended. But just throughout the entire game, you could just tell that the defensive line and offensive line for Miami was like the factor in this entire game. Like, bro, Miami's O-line just let Mark Fletcher, Jamar Brown. Unfortunately, Jordan Lyle did not play. He was supposed to play, but they just kept him in for just on the sideline just for precautionary measures. Since it was a blowout, he didn't have to play. But overall, it was just free running all over the place. You know, the defense was lights out. Shout out to Bryce Fitzgerald, Columbus alum. He got his second interception in a row in straight weeks. Shout out to true freshman Joshua Moore with 2 touchdowns and crazy catches, by the way, for that second one. He mossed the guy. Great. I'm loving what I'm seeing from all these true freshmen. Carson Beck, he threw one kind of bad pick. You know, that was unnecessary. He could have just thrown it away, but he can fix that. It was a blowout game, anyways. The second pick, it was intended for Tony Johnson, but Malachi Tony thought it was for him. But unfortunately, you know, Malachi Tony has like a 50-inch vertical and just tips it up in the air, and then you already know what the story is. It got picked off. So that was just not really on like Carson Beck. It was more on Malachi Tony. But overall, it's like there wasn't much to the game. There was just a lot of talk from USF and the Bulls, and you know they couldn't back it up. They ran into a wall. Yeah, that's right. They ran into a wall.
Put them down.
Hurricane floods, baby, hurricane floods. And then so that's basically 49-12. It was basically 2 field goals and then a touchdown at the end of the game. And they tried to go for 2, they couldn't get it. And it was just like legit, just manhandled the entire game. They had no. By the end of the game, the emotions were gone, bro. Everybody.
I mean, I think from the very beginning they looked intimidated in the first place to be even playing there.
Yeah, it was almost a sold-out crowd. It was, I think, over 66,000 people at the game. A lot of the attendance has been showing up. Shout out to I think Brandon, were you there? I think you were, right?
I was, yeah, I was.
Yeah, man. I wish I would have been there, but it was raining and I wasn't going to be there for an hour and a half delay. But overall, you know, I think we're at number 4 right now in the AP polls.
Yep.
It's whatever. I mean, we're going to talk about it now. We have another team to talk about that I'm also excited for, and I predicted that we would win earlier a couple months ago. But overall, I mean, we handled business like we were supposed to as the number 4 team. We go on to play the Gators. I did hear that Caleb Banks re-injured his foot, so he's probably not going to play this weekend, which is a big hit for the Gators. He's one of their best defensive players. Yep. So I don't know, getting to Carson Beck is going to be even more difficult for the Gators now. And I don't know, I'm not intimidated by the Gators defense. To be honest, I'm saying that they're not good or anything, but I just feel like if LSU was only able to put up 20 and one of them was a pick 6, but I feel like Miami's offense is way better than LSU's at the moment. Chip Kelly kept getting bombarded by journalists. Say, hey, what's wrong with the offense? What's wrong with the offense?
Yeah,
he's reflecting and getting pissed off on air. So I don't know what's going on with their offense. So I just think they're having problems, and I think it's the receivers. All the receivers are gone. Like they don't have that Brian Thomas, you know, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson anymore. I think that's what they're struggling with. It's not Garrett Nussmeier. I think it's the receiving, and that's why their offense is like kind of struggling right now. We don't have that problem. We got studs. So I think Florida's going to have their hands full. If Carson Beck plays a clean game, I think it's going to be a blowout again.
Blake, I want to ask you, where does this leave the ACC? Miami obviously is doing well. They're up to number 4. The only other team that it seems like can compete at the moment is Florida State, because
NC State.
Clemson is upset by Georgia Tech.
I think this is
by Georgia Tech.
This is going to sound really weird because Clemson's been doing it for a while, and I think this is where I think I said it last week. You're starting to see Dabo Swinney. We're starting to see him start losing his job, I think, eventually, because he actually has the exact opposite issue. Mario Cristobal is Dabo Swinney as a coach is actually a good coach, but he's not good at recruiting long term. He got some of the big guys because he was such a good coach. Mario Cristobal is an amazing recruiter. He is the best front 7 and O-line recruiter in college football to me right now, and you see it. That's the only reason Miami was starting to compete a couple years ago. Now we're here. But to me, the ACC, this is really good for the ACC. Is Clemson falling off a bit? because your limelight is now the best rivalry in the ACC. It's UM-FSU. They're the two horses. They're both in the top 10. College football, there's a saying always where college football is better when the Canes are good and Notre Dame's good and these colleges are good. That's when college football is the best. And now the biggest rivalry outside of the two major conferences, which in my opinion is the Big Ten and the SEC, those are the two major conferences right now. I think everyone's a step behind them in the overall builds of teams, is Florida State. And guess what? They're both top 10 and they're both great. And the one thing I wanted to say was I wanted to talk about the AP real quick because we don't have too much time. The difference between finishing second in the rankings this week and 6 was 67 voted points. Penn State has a total of 1,490. Oregon has 1,423 and 6. And Oregon, by the way, got a number 1 vote in the country for some reason. Don't know about that, but okay. But yeah, like I think we're seeing that we're questioning the LSU ranking. Florida State jumps all the way up to 7, but we're seeing that the voters think Ohio State's number 1. It is Ohio State.
I think should be.
Who's competing with them in the national championship? We think it's 5 other teams. We don't know right now, and we haven't had this for a little while because like when Washington made the college football playoffs and made it all the way to the championship, we all knew what was going to happen. Georgia was going to spank them, and they did. I went to a bar when I was up in Orlando and I watched it. I was like, I left after 20 minutes. I wasn't getting drinks, but I think in the ACC right now, I think this is the healthiest they've been in a decade because it feels like real competition. Like when Miami got ranked 3rd with Brad Kaya at quarterback, I think everyone could tell that team wasn't that good. It was a fun team. It wasn't that good. They got lucky and beat Notre Dame, and we jumped in the rankings. And now I think I'm looking at a team, and I wrote my first ever article for you guys was a UM article. And I said, I think the offense is probably going to take a small step back, which I think it's fair to say they're probably a small step back. They're probably not as good as last year with Cam Ward, but they're still really good. But the one thing I didn't think we were going to have, I didn't think the defense was going to take this much of a jump. They are so fast, and they're so physical. And you put a team out there like USF, who is extremely well coached. They're starting to get the players. They believe. They know. But you go out there and you go, oh, their linebacker is way faster than our running back. And he is running over our line and going through the A gap to stop the run. Oh, crap. Whoa. And you could visibly see it in that first drive for USF. They were like, there's something different here. This is a different level of play. We're not here. We're not at this yet. I think USF's still a top 25 team in the country. I think UM has shown that they've at least shown me now, because I was a big questioner, they're in this upper echelon. I don't think they're just here because we're like, oh, we're going to drop them when they lose it to Notre Dame. No, they're actually this good. And I think they should be clear favorites in the ACC right now. I think clear. And then, it'll be exciting if FSU keeps this up. That win against Bama, that's awesome. I hate FSU with all my being. I loved watching it. It was so cool. But I also think they're going to go against a real top team, and they're going to get stomped out like Miami. So.
Before we change to the next team. Miami plays a dual threat quarterback in DJ Lagway this weekend, and we just played another dual threat this past weekend with Byron Brown. If they could continue dealing with dual threats, and then you go into the bye week, and then after that bye week, you prepare, you study, you get ready, you get everybody healthy that was injured that we know of, heading into FSU. With Thomas Castellanos, who is a really good quarterback, by the way. You guys, I've seen him when he was at Boston College. He was a baller. If 3 straight weeks of dealing with dual threat quarterbacks, I think the defense is already going to be acclimated to this type of play, and I think it's going to benefit us. And plus, after obviously coming off a bye week, we'll be healthy, ready to go. And I think it's going to be tough for FSU. Not like they're catching us off guard. If we were just going from a pocket passer, and then dual threat. This is going to be I'm excited for this. 2 ranked Florida State and Miami, bro. This is what money should be paid for, baby. This is what money pays for. Oh, I'm excited.
Man, I'm telling you though, ACC wise,
I will say,
oh, apologies, but I was gonna say ACC wise
go
though.
ahead, Brandon. No, go ahead, Brandon. Go ahead.
I'm telling you, Georgia Tech will probably be the ACC championship.
We'll make it.
Will be in the ACC championship with the Miami Hurricanes. I like Blake. I really don't believe that Florida State's going to be a top 10 team throughout the entire year. I don't think that they're going to survive much of conference play. Similar to what we saw with the Canes last year, where it was like, man, this team is above everything, number 2 in the nation. And then you go against teams in the conference on the road, and it starts to feel some like, well, maybe we're not there just yet. I think this Georgia Tech program and the wins they've been able to get themselves through against ranked opponents for the past few years. Now, they won't even be challenged until the end of the year when they have to go against a team like Pitt or they have to go against Georgia in the rivalry game to end off the year. I honestly believe that Georgia Tech is bound for the ACC championship game. Not winning it, mind you, not winning it, but is bound for the ACC championship game. I think that Florida State's going to stumble a little bit. Miami, light years ahead. And talking about the AP poll, that should be the number 2 team in the nation right now in the Hurricanes. If Penn State and Miami face each other right now, I don't think I have Penn State in that game. If Miami had to face LSU right now, I think LSU loses by 3 touchdowns. That's how good I have the Hurricanes currently right now. Because, I mean, hell, they got a defensive player going for a top 10 Heisman vote. You know what I mean? It's that good on both sides of the field. This is a different Miami team from last year. Honestly, I would say a little bit better overall. But, I mean, it's the Cane. I'm not going to jinx it. But it could be. It could be a good year.
All right.
I'd still take Penn State.
You know, I'm gonna have to agree with Brandon there. I mean, again, I'm gonna be proud and still continue to say it, but it is true. FIU held Penn State to 10 points and a half. I don't think the number 2 team in the country would allow that to happen. So I actually have to agree with Brandon here. And also, Jonka, let's talk about it. FIU defeats FAU in the Shula Bowl for the first time since 2016. They have the Don Shula Award. It's back here in Miami. And Willie Simmons, his first Shula Bowl in the era, which, by the way, I mean, I wrote an article on it today. FIU's most successful coach in program history thus far, Butch Davis, he was able to beat the Miami Hurricanes and make the upset, but he could have never ever beat FAU for some reason, never beat the Owls, and that's the program's most successful coach. 9 wins was their most successful season, 9-4 the record actually. But Willie Simmons looks great for this FIU Panthers team, and I can see if they keep playing this way, I can see them going bowling this year.
Win the conference.
I can see you guys win the conference. Liberty does not look good.
Yeah.
I know some guys on that team. I played with them and I played against them. You guys have some good athletes on that team. It's a well-run program right now. You guys could make a run for that American Conference Championship, man.
Yeah, I know. The question is though, is like, how does it look like? Because I understand they're going to play Delaware later on this week, and that should be easily a win. Again, a team that just got into the conference, just got into Division I, should be an easy win. But I'm still looking at the other teams, in that conference, like Jack State. They've always been an issue throughout things, and Sam Houston isn't really there right now in the conference. Western Kentucky, the Hilltoppers are always in a weird way, the standard in the conference.
Yep.
But I'm telling you though, they got the athletes for it, like Blake said. They got some really good coaching now, and also speaking of Alex Perry, the Hawaii transfer for FIU, stud. Had a great game for them. Running game has been phenomenal throughout this entire season so far early. I'm expecting FIU to be competitive. Too soon to say conference, though. Too soon.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, I don't think it's too soon. I mean, you just based off that Penn State first half, I know, honestly, that we didn't score. And I think our offense is like one of our only things when we go up against top-tier opponents. That's going to be a struggle since obviously losing Eric Rivers was not beneficial to us. But I just think if our defense plays like how we've been seeing them play consistently, there should be no reason why we're not competing in every single game. Every single game. And if you continue to win and win and win, the recruiting is going to go up and up and up. More money will come in, and use that to get more players this offseason, and then keep building the damn program. Now, what we have to do is obviously find a new quarterback after Jenkins, because we don't know what's going to happen after Jenkins leaves, because it's going to be a whole new offense. We don't know what's going to happen.
If FIU can turn those 3 stars that are thinking about Miami because they're from down here, if they can turn those 3 stars that just round up the University of Miami class, and they can show like, hey, you'll get playtime here and you'll compete for something and put yourself on a national stage to get drafted eventually, possibly. I think I don't see how that's not possible. If you have one good year in a team in a conference like that, the CUSA or the Mountain West or the American, if you have 1 or 2 good years, that's a big deal. That shows the recruits that are these 3 stars that want to play early to go there. And you guys can get really good athletes at 3 stars, especially if they're from down here. Like 3-star recruits down here are 5 stars in other states.
Like, just imagine the portal, bro. If you have one good year, you in the portal, oh my God, the things you could do in the portal. We just seen it with the Miami team. The entire defensive back room has been revamped. I don't know, like saying we have like 9 or 10 new defensive backs. The whole thing's changed. Besides OJ Frederick, who just came in last year as a freshman. But besides that, the whole new thing. It's a whole new damn back. Like, you can change. You can make changes.
I will say, last time FIU, and the only time that they've won the conference, they were back in the Sun Belt Conference, and it was against Troy, 2010, and the head coach was Mario Cristobal. So I'll leave that right there. Food for thought.
There it is.
Meant to be.
There it is.
It's meant to be.
You know what? FIU national champions. I'm convinced.
Bro, I think the city would burn if that happened.
Oh, imagine that campus, the entire Latino campus of FIU. They wouldn't know what to do. They'd freak out.
I hope that you got. But yes, that's gonna do it for us tonight. I hope you guys have a good rest of the night, good rest of the week, and we'll see you guys next week on episode 200.
Support the troops.